This series is about outstanding architecture from around America. From stunning residential to public spaces to commercial. This is an architectural deep dive to uncover the incredible stories behind each design. Welcome to America by Design. Our ByDesign industry experts have selected innovative, inspiring and award-winning projects.
I think everybody knows when they're standing in a well-designed space because they just feel good.
There's been plenty of studies that show this. If you're in a building that's really well-designed, you act differently.
I've been in places where my heart rate has dropped, and I've been in places where I've been excited.
You feel the impact of it. You go in and you understand that something special has happened here.
Let's get started with our first project. This is Celebration Park, devised by a local dynamic entrepreneur called Rebecca, along with her architect. And this place is linked through its architect to another property owned by Rebecca across the road. Dave.
Hi, Mike.
Now, you were a big part of all these changes around here because you designed all this.
That's right. We were the architect for Rebecca's.
And this is the front-facing bar to the whole complex.
This is the public wine bar, and our architectural theme here was to put the outdoors and the wine on display, and the architecture takes a back seat to that.
And hey, we're definitely at Rebecca's.
That's right. That sign was designed to be able to be seen from the street. And the backlighting for that, as well as the overall lighting scheme for the complex, was provided by Sesco Lighting.
And is that Rebecca?
It is. And as usual, she's very busy.
Yeah. Hopefully we can pin her down later.
I hope so.
Now, as cool as all this is, I understand this is not where the architectural juice is for you.
That's right. The main focus of the project is the Maddox, which is the private wine club that's behind here. This structure forms the barrier for that oasis from the street.
This is exceptional. Tucked out the back here, most unexpected.
We definitely had a plan here to form an oasis and to protect it from the forces from the outside, which are noise and older neighborhoods that we didn't necessarily want to see. And we're doing that with the buildings around it.
Okay, yes, you've decided to look inwards. And I'm already seeing some architectural tricks here.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot to do here. This is a very tight site. We had to provide space for parking, for kitchens, for storage, and that sort of thing. And it leaves very little space left for what we really want to do, which is this central wine pavilion. And the inspiration we looked to was Japanese architecture, specifically temple shrines.
Yeah, I can see that.
And those are spaces where they're an oasis within an urban context. And the outdoor space is tight, and it becomes just as important as the indoor space. And as you can see here, Mike, the walls and the columns not only enclose indoor space, but they also enclose the outdoor space.
Yes, it is quite temple-like.
It is, and that's the whole idea with this central pavilion, is this becomes a temple to wine.
So Andrew, you're the builder on this project. This must have been a challenge.
Oh, absolutely. But it was a fun challenge. We love challenges.
I mean, Dave didn't even give you sheer walls to work with.
No, so he liked to force us to be creative on our design, on our construction. We took the foundations deeper to provide the more of the lateral loads for them to meet the hurricane codes. And then you can see that we have these large sliders that are 12 feet tall to provide that clear opening and space in and out. The challenge with that too is, there's no place to bring in the MEPs. So,
right.
The mechanicals, the HVAC, the fire sprinkler.
Oh yeah. Yeah, where
so
are
all
they?
of our mechanicals are run from another building. We ran them all underground. It all comes up through the middle of the building, and then we concealed it all in the ceilings to provide those clean lines that David wanted.
So is this a unique build in Florida?
100% unique. Typically you see one wall, two walls that open up to the exterior, but to have all four walls, all 360 degrees, 100% unique.
Those architects, eh? So David, biophilia works. Look at this.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. We're very proud of this project. We have this wonderful indoor-outdoor connection relationship. So the outdoor spaces are really intended to be fully immersive, where you're enjoying not just the biophilia, but you know, the water features, the fire elements, and really being able to sit with your favorite person and talk about and enjoy the day.
What are your tips and tricks here? What have you gone with?
The real key, I think, is creating good space. And so you'll notice that we've designed these seating areas just outside of the threshold where you can come, but it's an intimate space, so you really feel relaxed here. We've used these palm trees in varying scales, sables, Cocothrinax, Pseudophoenix palms, all of those native to the area with some native coffee.
I mean, why do you need to go to a national park? You could come and have a wine here.
Exactly, skip the mud
And the mosquitoes.
The mosquitoes, and just come straight to Rebecca's and the Maddox.
David, one more thing. Why have you gone with this?
Yeah, so Mike, this is our wonderful native limestone. So it fits into the native palette for the garden overall.
Yeah.
It's locally sourced and it's pervious. So we like to use it in garden spaces where we can.
And it's kind of crunchy underfoot. Even through my shoes, I sort of feel like I'm on holidays.
Right, it's understated, relaxed quality. So I really enjoy using this product when we can.
Rebecca, you're a trailblazer around here. What were you thinking, coming to this part of Naples?
I never had a great vision that, I'm going to go to Bayshore and change it. It kind of chose me.
Yeah.
And I still have a napkin where I wrote, I'm going to renovate this building and I'll make $200,000 on the flip. My father came to see the place. He sat outside on the steps and a potential customer came in. My dad told him, I don't think this is going to work. I think she screwed up on this one. Because it was really bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'll renovate it. And here I am 15 years later.
So no master plan? Really? You're kidding?
No, as my brothers say, even a blind squirrel gets an acorn once in a while. But no, we were very wine-centric in thinking about this. So I wanted something more Zen, more Balinese, more California. I didn't want just one more nondescript property.
So you clearly value working with designers and architects in your process?
I wouldn't think of doing it without an architect. I think you need to put creative minds together. I love that process.
Rebecca being the entrepreneur, she comes to us with ideas. And it's kind of up to us, along with Rebecca and her team, to kind of turn those ideas into a real project. And often when it's something that hasn't been done before, that's a real challenge, but we love to rise to that challenge.
So Rebecca, you're a big fan of this guy?
Totally. In fact, I might have a new gig for him.
Oh, really?
So Celebration Park is going to be so much fun. I couldn't even tell you what I think it will be.
Yeah.
But I think it will be very different than what it is right now.
I'm glad we showed up today. It sounds like you got a gig.
I am too. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We always look forward to projects with Rebecca.
The Fire Country Lookout is one of those projects that it is so stunning that it gives me chills. I love the attention to detail, and it really helps us realize what's possible when you're designing for the elements. It's really about withstanding climate change, and it does it in such an elegant, beautiful way.
Sometimes you just got to get out of the city, you know what I mean? We're an hour and a half north of San Francisco. We're on our way to this beautiful home that is perched up into those hills, and it is raw, it's resilient, it's natural. It is right smack in the middle of Fire Country.
Welcome to the Fire Country Lookout.
Thanks, it was quite a ride up here.
Yeah, it's beautiful up here in the wine country, huh?
Stunning. Now, why here, Chris?
Well, our clients wanted a house up in the wine country. We worked with them to find this property, and as part of that search, I actually came up here and camped out to really understand where the sun rises and sets, where the wind comes from, the smells and the sounds, and to figure out where to really locate the house. The other thing that we really took into account in selecting this site was wildfire. So we wanted to make sure that the site had 2 roads out, that there was enough water on site, and that it was, close enough to the local fire station or CAL FIRE that it could be set up for safety.
With the fire protection being such a big part of the design brief, how did you sort of blend that in with all of your aesthetic choices?
Right, because it's not just about being practical, it also has to be beautiful. Instead of making it just a big block, we really stretched the house out into this long, skinny bar. So every room has a window out to the beautiful view, and we kind of kinked the bar in the middle to fit the shape of the site. And it's at that kink that we create the main entrance to the house.
Oh, this is spectacular.
This is the entry. It's also a breezeway, and what separates the private area from the public area of the home. The owners wanted a property that really felt like they were outside, and we were able to create a home for them that blends the interior and the exterior.
And this view is incredible. I mean, it's like an artwork in itself.
No art is needed in this space.
Yeah, that is the art.
It is. Robin, are you ready to lose your mind?
Wow, what an entrance. You've got an outdoor kitchen, you've got an indoor kitchen.
Before we talk about the kitchens, I need to point out this spearhead structural system, which is the skeleton of the home. These are prefabricated, heavy timber glulam beams. The structure is then covered in the zinc, which is a fire protective material, and then penetrated by the windows, which allow this beautiful light in and also reveal this very soft interior.
I see that you've integrated the concrete all the way in both spaces, so that really helps to kind of bring the indoor and outdoor together. It's kind of like inside, outside, inside, outside.
The concrete ties together the outdoor kitchen with the indoor kitchen and our outdoor living room. The concrete also helps unify the center of the home, which happens to be the pool.
Can we talk about that kitchen yet?
We can.
Thank you. I mean, it's spectacular.
This is a custom kitchen built by Fairweather & Associates, our contractor. They also actually fabricated all the steel and wood.
There's also this wonderful ambient glow throughout the home.
We work with Tucci lighting, and their decorative lighting elements take our spaces up to the next level. We also have a beautiful Italian flex-form sofa here.
Gregory, I know how much craftsmanship and timelessness is at the core of your company ethos with FlexForm. How does that lend itself to this project specifically?
This particular sofa really lends itself to being in the middle of a room, multiple depths meant to be used in different ways. Coffee in the morning, watching a movie with your kids in the evening, entertaining with friends. And so it's a piece that's meant to be kind of the center of the space.
I know that you also have an outdoor collection. How do you maintain that luxury while using materials that also lend themselves to the exterior?
So we changed the materials to use things like marine grade nylons, we use solution dyed acrylics, and we use marine grade stainless steel actually for most of the pieces for outdoor as well.
This is the primary suite.
Oh, good morning, sunshine.
We wanted to make sure that we had views from every window in the home.
Graham, you created a fire-safe landscape here. What were some of the plants that you used, and how did they help aid in keeping the home safe?
One thing we do as we approach the house is specify plants like succulents, native perennial grasses. The succulents have a lot of water inherently. And the perennial grasses are small, and if they do end up burning, burn quickly and don't contribute a lot of embers or heat close to the house.
How does the hardscaping integrate, and how does that kind of lend itself to fire safety?
So the pool is one of my favorite parts. Not only does it really blur the boundary between the native landscape and the built structure, having all this hardscape kind of close to the house is part of our defensive space strategy. And really the cherry on top is this pool is actually piped to a hydrant out front. So when the fire department arrives, they know they have 40,000 gallons of water to be able to use in their truck. So we're hitting the fire resilience mark with having this reservoir of water while also acting as a beautiful cornerstone to the landscape.
Andy, you had a really important job, which was to come up with a rock-solid fire safety plan. What are some of the steps that you took to protect the house from fire?
To mitigate wildfire, we have 3 zones, 100-foot, 30-foot, and 5-foot. In our 100-foot zone around the perimeter of the house, we took out all the ladder fuels, which include Douglas firs, shrubs, anything that can build up and catch a bigger tree on fire. And in doing that, it really showcased these beautiful heritage oaks. At 30-foot zone, we have a system of sprinklers on the roof. We worked with a company named Frontline. They spray water out around 50 feet from the house, and that wets down the whole perimeter of the house and doesn't let an ember catch a foothold and become a bigger problem.
So what are some of the materials that you use that also help to mitigate the fire risk?
So in our 5-foot zone, building materials are very important. So we selected standing seam zinc for the exterior skin, goes up the walls, wraps over the roof and the backside.
I notice I don't actually see any of the sprinklers. Where are they all?
That is on purpose, Robin.
Okay.
We take great pride in seamlessly integrating these wildfire mitigation measures into a beautiful design.
So they're kind of hiding in plain sight,
They're
just
there,
in case you might need them.
Just in case.
Which you never will.
We hope not.
So sitting here in this beautiful home, guys, what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of the fact that it really fulfilled its mission. We have created a beautiful family home for our clients to bring their kids up and enjoy nature and be outside. And they love it. They're up here all the time.
I'm proud that we are able to seamlessly integrate these wildfire mitigation strategies into a modern home design.
I think one thing this project demonstrates is that you don't have to be afraid to let landscape close to your house, that there's a smart way of integrating the natural landscape with the built environment.
What I love most about the home is the opportunity to do a home that has such a high level of craft, and also that it is evident that so many hands worked on this project.
The collaboration is so evident here, and the teamwork is really spectacular. So I have to say toast to.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
From its fire-safe design to its stunning integration with nature, this home is a masterpiece of resilience and beauty, demonstrating that living in fire country can be safe, sustainable, and stylish.
225 Polk, a unique project, old library, now converted to an architect's office. I mean, what a daunting task. The project is really exceptional because they've restored it back to the original exterior, but then kept the material inside, which really speaks to authenticity.
Once home to books, now buzzing with big ideas, 225 Polk takes a retro library and gives it a fresh, modern glow up. This is Nashville history reimagined with style.
The original architect was really enamored with this New-Formalist style that was pretty hot at the time, but it's a nod to traditional architecture, but with some modernist detailing.
And it seems like blending the past and the present would be a real challenge with this.
Exactly. I mean, the marble is a great example of that. The exterior was all about preservation. So the marble that you see on the soffits and the arches and the fascia is all original. There was original marble on the column wraps, but all those pieces were failing, and so we had to replace all of those. But we found that the original quarry, where the original marble came from, is still active. And so this Georgian marble comes from the same quarry, which is why it's such a great match with the original marble.
So cool, past, present, coming together.
Exactly. We were really excited about acquiring this building from the city. We've been around for 40 years as a firm, and so much of our work is dedicated to the community, so what better building than the old civic space of this beloved library to become the new home for Hastings architecture.
And you have this amazing exterior, and that's in great contrast to this more futuristic and modern interior.
That's right, and you know, there are some historic elements still. The floor is the original terrazzo, and there's an extension as well, and we worked with Rosa Mosaic to help preserve that. But also this floor box that you see here is the original circulation desk power outlet. But the rest of this is meant to be very sparse and minimal as a little bit of a transition from the historic exterior to the different styles of the multi-tenant spaces. So we're now in Hastings lobby, and this is a model that our staff built, which is pretty fascinating. It shows a major central part of Nashville, but it highlights some of the projects that we've done over the past 40 years.
when you look around, already I'm seeing bones of the original structure coming out.
Right, well, in the same way that we were trying to celebrate the building by restoring it to its original state on the exterior, it was a little bit too far gone to restore it on the interior, and so we decided to go the other direction and say, well, let's just strip it down to its bones. So the concrete pan slab, the concrete shear walls and floors, columns, they're all exposed back to their original glory, and even the stair, which was really the only element that was left worth saving on the interior when we took over the building. So there was a major restoration project to bring this back into a beautiful working condition.
Even though this clearly has changed, I still see a lot that looks like a library.
We tried our best, so we adhered to a strict black and white color palette because we wanted it to feel like the same color palette you'd find inside a book.
I'm also noticing that the materiality, I mean, this really great walnut, it feels kind of academic.
The whole design of the space was thinking about that original library space feeling. So the desks all have a walnut top. The space is fully carpeted. We really had to think about acoustics. So we worked with Interface to select a carpet that's 100% recycled. And we also really had to think about lighting overhead. So we worked with Sesco lighting, and the lighting on the angle is in reference to the original library. So the bookshelves ran along a diagonal that cut across the original building, which we thought was really impactful.
What a great wink. And by the way, you can't help but notice this space without acknowledging this incredible view. But I also heard that maybe some of the older views weren't quite so amazing.
Yes, so directly outside of us used to be a business called The Shady Lady.
Sounds like my kind of place. But.
Right, so because of that adjacency, all of the windows that you're seeing here used to be solid. And that really was to prevent views from inside the library space to look on that less than desirable business.
Now that you've opened it up, you actually get to see the city that, of course, you serve.
Absolutely, we love that inside out feeling and being able to see downtown Nashville.
I see you've taken this black and white theme through to every room in the building.
Exactly. Even in this copy print area that we're in right now, we used black and white everywhere. So funny story about this Duracell countertop. So we loved the back side of the sample that we got. So we actually flipped it and used the back side to be our counter surface. And now Duracell actually runs the back side of their material as a line.
You literally flip their business upside down.
Do what we can.
So this is your break room?
It is. This space is all about our people. This is what we refer to as the cafe. It's where we all get together. So we worked with Alfred Williams to design this custom 30-foot long table where we can all sit together.
I mean, I love how large this table is. This is incredible.
We like eating together, we like being together. And because it is kind of this showpiece, it was really important that we integrate the appliances and make this kind of this nice seamless backdrop to the space. So we worked with Tisdale Distributing, and they helped us get that really seamless look with integrated appliances.
So our office is laid out with this spine wall that divides our working studio, and it's all this beautiful wood walnut that was done by Cumberland Millwork. And we worked with them very closely to recreate details like this slat, which is a Z slat that we actually took from the original drawings because it's the original detail from the auditorium that was in the library.
I love that nod. And I also love this incredible light coming through these windows.
Well, we actually had to replace every bit of the glass. And so we worked with Guardian and found the right glass. It's a high performance glass. But also worked with Alexander Metals on really unique details like the jamb. There actually is no frame for the jamb. It's glazed into the marble. So it was a very, very tricky condition, and they helped us out a lot. So we call this room the Athenaeum. It's our community room, and it literally is for the community. It really brings it to life in a way that makes the building still a public building in some sense.
And I love the poetry of literally seeing the city behind us, kind of inviting people in.
That's right.
So now that this is all done, what do you think?
It's been a really unique experience, both designing and now working in this space. But what a dream. We really love it. It's a really special building, and so glad that it's still here.
I mean, it's our love letter to the city. I mean, it is such a meaningful building to so many people who have so many great memories of this building, and that we actually get to occupy this space is just a dream come true.
We're here to meet one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people, architect Elizabeth Diller. founding partner of Diller Scofidio and Renfro, known best for their exceptional designs for public space and cultural institutions worldwide, including New York's High Line and the Shed. Liz, so great to see you. Thank you for meeting me here on your High Line.
Welcome here, Eileen. It's great to have you here.
You have made such an impact on our city, but how did this all begin for you?
I aspired to be an artist. I just had a creative streak. I was always drawing, painting, making things. And then when I was studying art, I took a class in architecture and I was totally seduced.
I recall one of your very beautiful projects, and it was called The Blur.
So the Blur building was basically a fog bank, like a cloud just sitting on a lake in Switzerland. And basically it was the water from the lake pumped and then filtered and shot out of 35,000 water nozzles. And it was an obsession to produce this installation outdoors, which led me to understand the potential of making something for a broad audience. And that's what brought my interest to cities. And for example, the High Line. Well, this whole area was in a very bad state. It was a meatpacking district and it was full of sex workers. And it was a really interesting, gritty part of the city. But there was great potential here to do something that would catalyze responsible growth in the city. At the moment that the project started, Mayor Giuliani had signed the court order to demolish the High Line under pressure from the property owners around who felt it devalued their property. And when Bloomberg came into office, there was this sort of investment in public space and culture. And we convinced the Bloomberg administration that this could be a great catalyst for urban growth in this part of the city.
How many people come to the High Line annually?
Well, we imagined when we started that success would mean 400,000 people per year. Just before COVID, 8 million people came in 1 year.
Now, can we go take a look at the Shed, which is a cultural institution?
Yes, let's go.
You have delighted the city yet again with this extraordinary cultural institute. What was your brief?
Well, actually, there was no brief. The notion of the Shed is basically a toolbox to make anything you want with. So we thought, okay, what is an institution for contemporary art in the 21st century? What would artists be doing?
There are a lot of mechanics going on around here, large wheels and gears. How does this all work?
The footprint of the site was a little bit too small when we took it on, and we said, what if we made a fixed building and a movable outer shell? And when it deploys, it doubles the footprint of the original plot. That's where we're standing in, the deployed shell. That's the fixed building. So this building rides on those wheels, they ride on tracks, and above us on the roof, there's a rack and pinion system that basically gives a mechanical advantage, and it's powered by small motors, together the horsepower of one electric car.
This is a beautiful case of how the structure can affect what the institution becomes.
Artists are confined usually to smaller spaces. New York is very expensive. But what if you give artists the ability to do something in a space that they can own and they could use in any way they want? This is really what I love to do, extend my artistic abilities and my vision to help other artists do their work.
We hope you've enjoyed our look at some of the finest architectural designs from around America. Join us next time for more groundbreaking architecture on America by Design. For more information on any of the projects featured in this series, go to bydesign.global.